This is Outside the Round with Matt Burrill, a Raise Rowdy podcast.
Yeah, Adam Chaffins, my brother. It's good
How's
to
it going?
formally meet you
Yes,
today.
sir. Yes,
Thanks
sir.
for coming and doing this. How's your day going?
It's been pretty chill today. Just kind of combing through, going over things. Got a song coming out this week, so
Hell yeah.
just on. I haven't put out music in a minute, so
Yeah.
knocking the rust off.
Yeah, and you guys were just very busy with Americana Fest, right?
Sorta. Yeah, we did a few things for Americana Fest. It's always pretty good time to see everybody you haven't seen in so long. Everybody just tends to show up, and it's a good time to reconnect with old friends you usually see once a year, and it feels like you see them.
Yeah.
More than that.
Yeah, I feel like that whole world is just growing so much to where it's like some folks and it's kind of like how you have like different sects of rock, like you have different sects of country and even different sects of traditional country.
Yeah.
And it's like some folks like that it's not like the cool thing, but in recent years it's become one of the cool things within our country music world.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting if you look at what was accepted as country music or Americana like 10 years ago, or around when I moved to town, to now. It's just it's evolved so much.
Yeah.
I'm very curious, like what's it going to be like in 10 more years.
Oh, dude, yeah.
Like streaming and everything is just kind of the new norm, and that is how it seems like everyone's like, all right, streaming's a thing. It doesn't seem as foreign anymore to most people who listen to music in general.
Yeah, which it's just great to it gets more ears and eyes on the artists and it's a little bit easier to get music out. But then we were just talking about it right before you walked in, like there's so much music that's getting put out.
Yeah, it's a staggering figure.
It's busy. It's like kind of like how Nashville has become like a big city and like grown, and there's obviously more traffic than when you first moved here, which we'll get into all of that. I know you've been in town, what is it, like 14 years, I think so?
Something like that. I kind of stopped counting.
So, but it's like how cities grow. It's like the country genre has grown to where there's a lot of traffic out there on the highway to success as an artist.
Yeah,
there's a lot more traffic, a lot more cars getting off the exit onto Demonbreun.
That's an interesting way to look at it. Yeah, I mean, it's as overwhelming as that is for an artist, it's even more overwhelming, I think, for a listener.
Yeah, dude. As a music consumer, bro, I talk about it with my business partner Nikki T, and with Raise Rowdy. Obviously, we love to. New Music Friday is one of our favorite days of the week because we get to hear all the new shit that comes out. We love it, and especially like folks that are like up and coming and things like that. But it's just now the new music playlist is just I think there's like a stat where it's like over 20,000 songs across all genres come out every Friday.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Like, how do you break through? It's chaos.
Well, and even for the people who distribute said music, it's a tough task for anyone involved and anyone trying to get it out. But I also think it creates really cool opportunities when something does rise to the top.
Yeah.
It seems like it's like, oh, wow. And it's very intriguing to me what things do that now.
Yeah.
It seems like they're not the same things they used to be. And it's like, people I think wanted these things all along. They're just finally getting access to it because we are able to bring it straight to them. You don't have to like wait for a TV appearance as an artist anymore to like say you got something coming out. You just get on your phone and do it. Yes. Some people are better at that than others, obviously.
Yeah, so you can reach as many people on a TikTok live with certain accounts as you would on Saturday Night Live.
Yeah.
Like the night show is like a different thing now.
It's a lot to wrap your head around when you
is.
just want to play hillbilly music and make the people dance.
Yeah, dude. So let's talk about that. Eastern Kentucky, right on the West Virginia border.
That's right, yeah.
What's the name of the town you grew up in?
It's called Louisa. It's called Lawrence County. Lawrence County, Kentucky. We're all county people around there.
Yeah, I love it.
So I would say I'm a Lawrence Countian.
Lawrence County. Yeah. And there's a lot of music. I mean, the Appalachia scene's always been rich in tradition and doing it the Appalachia way, whether that's bluegrass, whether that's leaning a little bit into that Southern rock stuff, whether it's just down the middle, 3 chords in the truth. Like, there's quite a bit.
Well, I grew up directly off of US 23, which is called Country Music Highway. So like there's the new US 23, which runs this way. And then to get to where I grew up, you take old 23 and then the road that goes to my house that I grew up in is the old 23.
Oh wow, old.
Yeah, it's like I'm a true son of US 23 is what it all boils down to. I think.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
So what'd you grow up listening to on old 23?
Well, man, I grew up, in the early 90s going with my dad to flea markets because he'd sell stuff at flea markets.
Nice.
And that was the record store for me, man. They would sell cassette tapes. Dating myself a little bit.
And you'd find everything there.
Yeah. And I mean, like, it was peak 90s country at that. And like Country Music Highway, peak 90s country. A lot of stars, that were active then were from there. It's kind of resurgence. It's happening again now.
Who were some of the folks?
From my hometown, like Ricky Skaggs is from my hometown, and Larry Cordell. Keith Whitley's from Elliott County, Sandy Hook, which is on the other side of the hill, kind of from where I grew up. Dwight Yoakam's that way. The Judds. It's a lot happening. Yeah. And at that time, those guys were just on top of the world. You know? So as a kid growing up there, it was like, I had to have my hands on all of it. And, I was a big country music buff, and then into, Southern gospel music, going to church and those kind of things were really like the crux of what music was for me as a early child.
Yeah, the going to church thing. Like, I grew up going to church, but we didn't have like music. I'm from New York, so it's just like a very different culture.
Yeah,
it's the thing about like kids coming up playing in church and the gospel versus like the Catholicism where it's like the church organ and whatever. Right. It's just like a different vibe. Like, a part of me wishes that I did have that growing up.
Was it more like formal ceremonial?
Yeah. I grew up Episcopalian, so it's like it's like being a Catholic, but you can smoke.
Man, Episcopalian churches. I mean, not to get on a whole. I'm not gonna go down this lane.
You're good.
But they're pretty chill.
Yeah, they're very chill.
Yeah.
They're very chill, but it's just
kind of like Catholic light.
Yes, Catholic light. Yes, yes. If one's Bud Heavy, then this one's Bud Light.
But in a good way.
Yes, in a good way. Yeah. In a very in the where it's like you're able to. It's a little bit more freedom,
more tangible for life.
Yes, agreed. But it's like we didn't have like the music is such a part of the Southern church. Like in the Bible Belt, music is as big of a part of it as the sermon. Honestly.
Yeah, I grew up, in the Free Will Baptist Church, and there was a Haas piano player that was just leading this congregation. She just like, it was like they were reading shape notes and stuff like that. So the hymns, it was like there was no conductor. It was just, she literally was just like playing with all her might to just keep, a packed church every Sunday, just singing along. So to me, like, that was always like people that did that was just like it was uber talent. To me, it still is like amazing talent. So I was lucky to see like what I consider, just great musicianship from an early age. Just being from East Kentucky, there's tons of like local bands playing at all the county fairs and stuff like that, and the talent was like top tier. Most of the people were like, I used to play with Ricky back in blah blah blah, or Billy Ray or whoever. There's a lot of that going around in the region. So I mean, the bar for like being really good was pretty high just out the gate there. Like, there's just no bullshit. You know?
Those picking polls of just people getting together and just picking flat top. Kentucky does it different than everybody else.
In a lot of ways.
In a lot of ways.
Not just music.
Across the board,
we could have a whole podcast just about that.
Yeah, dude, because I spent time out on the road touring, doing the tour manager stuff, the merch selling stuff, and we'd go through places like Corbin and different regions of
that's
Kentucky.
more central.
Yeah. But it's like the Kentucky crowd is just a little different. Like, there's nothing like rolling into Lexington, Kentucky at a packed show.
Yeah.
And you get some folks just getting after it, dude.
That is a fun experience.
Kentucky gets down.
Yeah, and that's a good market to mention for said getting downness.
Yeah, Lexington, Bowling Green's definitely a little bit of a different vibe. Owensboro is a very different vibe.
I mean, it is like Louisville and Lexington are pretty different vibes, and they're about an hour apart, you know, but to me, they're just complete different markets.
Yeah.
Like, Louisville's more of a Midwest vibe, and Lexington is like, kind of this oasis for Appalachia, like, there's a lot of just people from back in the mountains that kind of come there, and it's a more urban, but not really urban
Yeah.
vibe. It's chill,
Yeah, and you have all the horses just everywhere.
Yeah, it's beautiful country, man.
Yeah.
like especially this time of year.
Yeah, the fall,
Yeah,
the leaves changing.
Yeah,
It's the best.
yeah, it's really nice.
It's the absolute best. And yeah, Kentucky's, like you said, if Appalachia, Kentucky's just kind of had this resurgence of
It's been cool, man.
going back
yeah.
to Tyler and Sturgill, like
Yeah.
a few years back, to guys like yourself. Guys that come to mind are like the old 60 boys out of like the western side of Kentucky. They're from Hancock County.
That's right.
And it's like there's Chase McDaniel, like the list goes on and on of different guys and girls that are coming out of Kentucky. Britt Taylor, right?
Yeah,
Your wife?
that's my wife. Yeah,
Yep.
But she's definitely
There's
on
some
that list.
incredible talent that it's just a musical state. So walk me through kind of the decision to leave Country Music Highway and come to Country Music City.
Well, man, I mean, when I moved from there was not a scene at all, and I went to school for music in East Kentucky, and I was just kind of like, to me, the mission was I just need to make music however possible. Like, I don't, I've always wanted to make a record and put out records of my own, but I think more than anything, my mindset was like, I just got to be really good. I just want to be good at music so people will hire me for whatever, and I can always be playing music and just avoid doing anything else that's not doing that. So Nashville is just pound for pound. There's no better music town in the world to make records, to put bands together. It's centrally located to tour and to do all those things. And I mean, it was just opportunity. I don't think I left where I'm from more than any other person left for opportunity, for not just music, but to get a job or to do anything that's not, available there to do. And I hope that changes. It does seem like there's a growing scene, and I hear, I know quite a few musicians who live there who are sustaining on music alone, and that's awesome. I don't really know of a lot of people who did that growing up. Everyone that played music had a real job that I was around. And so to me, it was like, well, if I can't do music full time living here, I'm going to have to go somewhere where I can.
Yeah.
But now I live out. I lived in the thick of the city of Nashville for a while, and I've lived outside of it for a minute now in a more country environment, and it's made it, way more maintainable for me, honestly, the older I get.
Yeah, living in the city, like having Midtown and downtown accessible when you first get here's wild.
Yeah, well, I mean, honestly, like, it was a lot more accessible to me when I first moved here. Like, you could still park your damn car on Broadway when I moved to town. And that was awesome, man. It was like you could go out and like chill, and it wasn't as intense, and not to diss the level that it has become now. It was a more locals kind of would, you could see yourself down there weekly, as now it's like monthly. I think a lot of locals.
Yeah. When was the last time you were on Broadway?
I'm trying to think. I guess I probably went to a show somewhere, or a hockey game or something like that. I can't.
It's going there for an event. It's not just going there to go there.
Yeah.
That's where I'm kind of at too.
Well, I write songs on Music Row often, and I always tell people it's funny. It's like, man, you're driving to work at 9, 10 a.m. and there's people just like getting it down.
Oh yeah.
And you're like, how am I supposed to do shit when everybody's just partying? Like, why aren't we all just partying? Like, it just seems like nobody wants to do anything today.
Yeah.
And that's an interesting dynamic to me. It's like, you're kind of used to it now.
You don't have a lot of places where that's the case.
And
Nashville's unique. In that.
Yeah, there's not a lot of cities where people are rolling in, and except maybe Vegas,
New Orleans.
Orleans, but like, I don't know, it's even different there. It's not as I feel like always thought of New Orleans more in that straight party vibe than I did Nashville, but now not. I think Nashville's,
we've surpassed it.
Yeah, it's taking it to a new level.
Yes, yeah.
A rooftop at a time.
One rooftop at a time. Yes. It's crazy, the bars down there, because that's where I kind of came up in. Was I worked down there doing security when I first moved to town.
Oh, cool.
So I spent a lot of time down there, and obviously I don't spend a lot of time down there anymore, but it's like there's so many bars. Like, it's just, how big can it get?
how big can it get?
That's what I'm saying. Like, how
Like-
can it sustain? How can all those bars sustain like the volume of people? Like,
We're about to find out. I
yeah,
suppose.
I think we're right there. Like, because it's like a new bar opening up every week.
I mean, literally, they're like, building a whole new city on the other side of the city.
Yeah.
To just keep up with the level of it.
Yeah.
I think that was we're just gonna have to build another town.
Yeah.
That's all there is to it.
Yeah,
We don't have enough town.
The East
Need
Bank,
more.
baby. Yeah. Redoing all that.
Yeah.
Dipping into East Nashville.
Nashville doesn't mess around, man. That's one thing you can like look at the history of this town. Like it's constantly progressed. Like it's been torn down and rebuilt like since it's been here, and it seems like it's always been a place where people came to have a good time or expected to have a good time.
Yeah.
When they came here. So I think that's still been the case of Nashville. But the vibe here is different than any other music town or city. It's just a lot more, purpose driven, I think. And there's a lot more people like that who are purpose driven, but with a kinder, outlook, I think.
Yeah. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, chiller outlook.
So I first got introduced to you through the song, the collaboration with Britt, with Ben Chapman, and with Meg
We're
McCreary.
Gone As It Gets. Yeah.
Gone As It Gets, bro.
Yeah.
That song, it's high streaming, over 2.5 million.
Yeah.
Pretty freaking good.
It's nuts, man. And I feel like it, it came out and people were like, this is great. And we're like, cool. And it kind of just chilled. And then all of a sudden, like a year later, it kind of went again. And I feel like that song just gets its wind naturally. It just, as soon as it starts to fall, like a gust comes and picks it back up and takes it into the streaming sphere.
Yeah, dude. It's just a chill vibe. And the vocals on it, all four of you guys together.
Yeah, man. It's
so cool.
It's an interesting, I mean, it would have never stumbled upon it had we not sat down and wrote that song. I mean, that was the first time we all wrote a song together, like the four of us together. I think we had individually kind of wrote in different ways, but that was, and we were just hanging out one evening, and I think we wrote that song in like 15 minutes.
And it's cool that it's two couples, two power music couples,
Yeah.
with you and Britt, and then Ben and Meg.
It's amazing that it gets along, but we get along so well. Like we have the best time together. We actually like just really enjoyed hanging out, and we did a little retreat earlier this year at Red River, at the Natural Bridge, Kentucky, like Red River Gorge area,
Nice.
and played a show up there, and just kind of hung out and wrote some songs in a cabin, and it was just really great. So hopefully we can put those down and get them into the world at some point again.
Yeah, that's the way to do it, is just strip everything down and get out into the country and write some songs. I mean, I know the Music Row thing's great too. It's an institution. Been
Yeah.
there forever, but it seems like people just create a little bit different on those retreats.
Yeah, well, I think the four of us do that so often. And it's like we could do that, but it's just not, I feel like you just get in a different headspace. And especially, I feel like that track is kind of singular compared to our own individual music, too. Like it's its own thing that we all four kind of bring something different to create that.
Yeah.
And I think that's what makes that so cool and like completely unique. And one individual person couldn't do that.
Yeah.
That song wouldn't sound the same if just one of us released it or did something like that. So it's really inspiring to have those opportunities with them and like to have a creative space. And I've been in quite a few bands, and like bands are they're difficult. Man.
Bands are tough.
They are difficult.
It's a lot of personalities.
That's why I think you see more individuals than you do bands, especially now. That's when you see a band that's like doing it and they're doing it well. Like you just, even if you don't particularly like what they're doing, if it sounds good, if you're like this, sounds good. It's not what I like. That's an impressive feat.
Yeah.
If a band has stayed together at any.
Yeah, to have that chemistry, spend that time on the road, especially in the early days where you're all in a car.
Well, I suppose it's it's harder when success comes, I've found, or lack of success over. It's either there's no success and you're like, all right, well, our answer's right here.
Yeah.
Or there's success and that can change the dynamic, it seems, historically.
Yeah, so tell me about this new one, little bit at a time.
A Little Bit at a Time is it's kind of the first release from a batch of new music that I've been recording.
You've been waiting to get it out, haven't you?
It's been a minute, man. It's been a minute. For these songs have kind of all came about, since the pandemic, since my last record, and it's just been a slow build. Every opportunity just keeps getting cooler, and a little bit at a time. Like literally, it's why I think this is appropriate first song to put out from the batch, because the more in a hurry or the more I feel like I'm not getting somewhere fast enough or it's not moving, the more I chill out and not focus on the end result and really pay attention to what's happening in front of me, is like when the end result becomes apparent, you know. And it seems like just being committed to the journey has been a lot better mindset for me than to think about anything beyond that.
That's a healthy way to look at it.
For me, it has been.
I think overall it is.
Yeah. And I think this whole project, all the songs, you know, that are to come within the next year, all kind of have an individual story that I think I relate to in some way. I have a very personal relation to, and I don't know if the last album was that way. I mean, it was in some regards for sure, but it's just different. It's more, you know, straight on with this project than previously.
I feel like a lot of people are like that post-pandemic. I feel like we all had some time to take a look in the mirror and find ourselves.
Well, for me, it was really, I've had more of a, I've spent more of my time playing instruments than writing songs up until the last 4 or 5 years. So the first half of my career, you know, I was writing by myself mostly, but the volume wasn't as much.
Were you like on the road doing?
I was on the road playing with other people.
Oh, who were you out with?
I was in a band called Town Mountain for a little bit.
Okay.
So I was in Town Mountain for a while. I was in a band before that called the Deadly Gentlemen, and then I've toured, you know, backing up other people like Kendall Marvel.
Oh, sick. Love Kendall.
Leanne Womack.
Oh, wow.
People like that. So I've and then, you know, played on sessions for different artists and different producers, and so I've kind of like had. That's also part of the little bit at a time journey. It's just, you know, I've had really cool moments. I've had a really cool career as a player and doing all those things too. It's just I find through COVID and writing these new songs, I've found way more commitment to writing, and like, you know, it really boiled down to like, why the hell did I move here?
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, you wanted to write songs, dumbass. Like,
yeah,
you're a songwriter. You want to write. That's what you want to do. So I just really committed. Instead of writing like 12 songs by myself a year, you know, still writing by myself some, but writing with other people, I went to writing like hundreds of songs a year.
Isn't it crazy how the volume of that can just jump?
Yeah, and it's like, and then by that you start whittling down like who you connect the best with and what you really want to say, and how much easier it is to get your thoughts across, and how it makes writing not as daunting of a task when it's by yourself, just sitting down with a blank screen or a piece of paper.
Yeah.
Just like, what the hell?
That's probably the writing by yourself thing sounds like, and I'm not a writer, not a player, I can't sing. I'm none of that. I'm just kind of here, you know, I'm just in the community doing what we do. But it seems like the writing by yourself thing is almost like equivalent to like a therapeutic, like journaling type of thing, right?
Yeah, but I think
unless you challenge yourself to like,
it makes it tougher to share those things, right?
Cause the vulnerability.
Yeah, like when you have someone else kind of hyping you up, like, oh, this is cool. You're like, oh shit, it's cool, you know.
Yeah, you probably get in your head.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely like, that's one reason, you know, I love working with other producers, is to have that back and forth of like, what are your, because sometimes I don't think things come across like, oh, this is stupid. They're like, no, I think we should just do this. And that's, you know, awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. Every racehorse needs somebody to put the blinders on.
That's it.
Focus.
I think there's a lot of focus, and it's a lot of just like encouragement is a big thing. And just like, you know, staying on track, and like, all right, you know, we're in the right thing here, doing that. And, you know, I like to produce stuff too, but I like working with other people producing on my own things. It's just a lot easier, especially playing on things and having somebody who's not doing that listening back, and especially in a session. And doing that the way we just recorded these last things was a really cool experience too, and really added to the songs. And I think the songs, the way we recorded it, those songs, you know, were made for that.
Yeah, tell me about working with Frank Rogers.
Man, Frank's awesome. Frank changed my life the day I met him. For real, like
How so?
well, I've been writing songs for a while, and I was kind of talking to some other companies about a publishing deal, or like a record kind of deal, or different. There's different versions of all that now.
So many.
Yeah, so it's hard to even explain.
Yeah.
But there was a few of those options, and then I was writing with Mike Fiorentino quite a bit at Spirit, and who's also a producer on this with Derek Wells. And one day he was just like, "Hey man, won't you come sit down with us?" And he's like, "Send me some songs you like of yours." So I'd talked to quite a few other people, and I'd sent them songs as well, but for some reason I just felt like I was like, I want to send some songs that I haven't sent to other people. I'm just like, whatever, I have nothing to like.
You got nothing to lose.
Yeah.
Yeah, literally.
And I was like, I wasn't even expecting that, opportunity or anything. And then fast forward a couple weeks later, I had a meeting at Spirit Music, where Frank is at and operates. And, I just went in for a meeting, and I played a couple songs. He's like, "Why don't we just go to my office?" And then we just sit and talked, and, was like, "I don't really do this. Like, I've maybe done it a couple times, but I'd really like for you to work here." And from then on, I was just like, all right, cool. Like, this is no bullshit. I just feel like there's a lot of bullshit.
There is.
And then finally here I'm sitting with someone who's not like tiptoeing around. He's just like, "No, this is great. Like, people need to hear this. Like, let's do this." So from then on, it's just like, and that was for a publishing deal. And then,
how long ago was that?
That was in 22.
Okay.
Right. So it's been a couple years, but, and then from then, we started putting together songs to record, and then, recording, and then putting some stuff out, like got some songs on hold with some other artists that I'm not going to jinx by telling you right now.
Yeah, that's the songwriter. That's the songwriter superstition right there.
So that kind of happened out the gate, and it's just been really cool, like since knowing Frank. And when we sit down, he was like, "Well, I think it's time to make a record. Like, who do you think you would want to work with producing it?" And I was like, "Well, kind of talking to like a really good hit producer, and this company has some really great hit producers in it. Like, I don't know why.
I'd go somewhere else.
Like, I know you're busy, but like," and he's like, "Of course." Like, so it was just a really awesome experience, and like just getting to call all my heroes studio musicians, and like helping assemble the band. And
yeah, you got to be geeking out over that as a guy who's been in the studios and played, and then some of the players that those guys have
are playing on
as accessible,
my
playing
music.
on your stuff.
Yeah, that was a mind trip. I was like, God, I need to not suck today, because I'm playing the bass. I played the bass on the session, and that's just not an instrument that it needs to be tracked appropriately. You're not going back and overdubbing that a lot. So it was really cool, man, and we're gonna do some more of that too. So, that alone, like I said, since meeting Frank, things have been pretty cool.
That's awesome, man. God bless Frank Rogers.
Yeah.
And Spirit's got some cool
that.
stuff going on over there too, man. That's a good building to be spending a lot of time in.
Yeah, it's a diverse bunch, and there's a lot of
That's what's great about it,
yeah,
though.
there's a lot of talented people.
That's where the scene's at right now. You have a little bit of everything, so when you have a building that has a little bit of everything, it's not a bad thing.
Yeah, and they've just been super encouraging for what I do, and Frank's always just like, go write weird shit. That's awesome. Like, I think it's like, I don't know anybody that writes from this perspective. Like,
What would you classify as like weird shit?
Weird shit?
What's weird shit?
Well, I think just talking more specific about things, and I think, I don't know if a little bit at a time, I mean, there's maybe some parts of it that people consider weird, but to me, things that aren't just the norm, I think anything is, if someone's not just a little weird or kooky, like, I don't know if I trust you.
You have to have that.
Yeah.
That's like I had Aaron Ratier and John Deschus in here not too long ago.
Beautiful example of great people.
30-minute songs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have some cool 30-minute songs that John has started that we've finished together. Actually, those guys are brilliant.
Yeah,
you know.
But again, like you said, some what folks would look at as like weird shit, like outside the box creatively.
Yeah, for sure. Like I think I'm always just shooting for something that you've not heard, and I think everything I've ever put out, I've tried to just make sure it's not parallel to anything else. Not saying it's better, just saying I'm just making sure that I'm like trying to deliver it in a way it's not been done, to show a different perspective sonically, you know.
Yeah. That's what a creator should be doing. Yeah, absolutely.
Hopefully.
No, I agree with that. I agree with that for sure. So talk about Britt a little bit.
Yeah.
How did you and her first get connected? How long have you been
Well,
married?
that's a long story.
We got a lot of time
we
here,
got
Adam.
we got married.
Got a lot of time.
We got married in 21, and we've been together a couple years before that. So this past September, I guess, we just celebrated our 3rd anniversary.
Congrats. That's
Thank
awesome.
you. Yeah. Yeah, man, I actually met her in music years ago, and like we had, kind of done some stuff earlier, but never a romantic level at any. I mean, we'd spent some time apart, and then over the years we kind of got back together through writing and stuff, and then we just ended up together, and just kind of have just. I think our creative fields have changed too, and I think we've kind of are in the same field. It's just kind of impossible when you're both creators and artists for your art to not like bleed into the other a little bit.
Yeah.
I think, and that's a weird thing, but I don't think we've like just tried to let it happen naturally, and I think that's hopefully that shows in the things that we do together.
No, I think it definitely does. What's it like being with another artist?
Well, I don't know any
writer?
other. I've never been married to anyone who's not an artist or a writer.
Well, I'm saying just on a relationship level, like
Yeah.
what's it like? You guys are both in the trenches doing your things, having the ups and downs that come with this music life.
Well, I think it helps a lot because there's no explaining. Like it's insane. To do this, you're a little insane.
Yeah, you have to be a little crazy.
And there's no we don't have to there's no explaining that.
Yeah.
And I feel like some people are like, why are you doing this? It's like that conversation never happens. Like we just don't. It's just we just keep making shit and keep going and keep churning. And I think having I don't know how I would keep doing it without her, honestly. And I feel like we've been able to support each other and in that way, creatively writing songs together, how we put songs out, all those different things, like even when we're not playing together, I think, we connect each other in different ways, and it just seems pretty seamless, honestly.
Yeah, being each other's biggest champion, I'm sure too.
Yeah. I mean, that's a big part of it. And honestly, it's crazy. It's like, it just happened. It's all just happens. There's no, like, we don't sit down and talk about, we got to do this thing that we just do things, and like when I can go play shows with her, I do. When she can come with me, she does. And we try to stay together as much as possible. And it's fun. It's fun for me to do that. I produce some of her stuff too. So it's fun to like be a part of that whenever I can. And, and sing. We write so many songs for other people too.
I'm sure. Yeah.
So it's awesome, to be able to do that. And like, that's a whole nother way that we work together that people don't. I think people are just like, oh, you tour together, but it's like, no, I mean, we work together a lot just in our living room or in a writing room, writing with other artists too, on songs that they put out. So we're just constantly like, working together.
And it's nice if you get an idea middle of the night. You're sitting on the couch watching TV. All of a sudden, a little ping goes off in the head. I got this idea, and then you can tell her that, or she can tell you that, and you guys could sit down and start get the motor running on something.
That happens.
I was gonna say, I bet it does at some point.
I will say, I feel like one thing with us is we write together with other people more, and I feel like it's kind of the scheduling thing. Like when you're out touring all weekend, you've been playing music together, and you're like writing with like it's hard to want to do your other time when you're not doing that is like the time you want to do.
Dude,
live.
it's such a challenge balancing touring with writing, with recording, and then God forbid there's an in-town show too.
Yeah, and we have some
of the week. It's
right.
Balancing all that is a juggling act.
And we both have different people that run our calendars separately.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is. It is interesting but it always works, and it always makes the situation better, like inevitably, even when it seems like it's going to be crazy. It's not. It always works out great.
Yeah. So what does Adam Chaffins do for fun when you're not doing music stuff?
I mean, that's
What else do you do? Like, how do you unwind? Like, what are some of your
Well, I
hobbies?
mean,
what do you like doing?
we do a lot of writing, man. I feel like the last little bit I've been, either writing or putting songs out or touring. I like to ride. I road bike. I get out and ride a bike.
Oh,
I'm
nice.
Pretty lame. Yeah. I like sports.
Like sports?
I watch football and college basketball.
So who are your? Congrats on Kentucky. I'm assuming you're a Wildcats fan.
Yeah, it was a good weekend for my sports team.
A game in Oxford, Mississippi, bro.
You know what's crazy? I'll tell you this. So I was fortunate to go out with Leanne Womack this weekend and play bass with her.
Oh, awesome!
She's just done a couple shows randomly opening for Alan Jackson.
Oh, that's so no big deal opening for AJ with Leanne.
What was
trippy, pretty cool.
Yeah, but we were busy. Like I didn't get to watch the game as much, but at one point I turned it on. But our green room was the men's, like it was Bud Walton Arena.
Oh wow!
So our green room was the men's Arkansas, basketball team's like locker room. That it was just the craziest thing to be as a Kentucky fan.
Yeah.
Just like, where's Cal at? Like, we need to catch up on some things.
Yeah.
But it was really cool, and it was a very SEC inspiring weekend.
Yes.
I should say. But yeah, man, I mean Kentucky football. I'm a Cincinnati Bengals fan as my pro team, and so it was a good. This past weekend was a good sports weekend.
Yeah, Kentucky football seems like it's coming together.
I love it. It's great. It's definitely known for the basketball.
Yeah, I was gonna say it ain't basketball season, but it's nice to have some excitement in the early fall.
It's kind of like barbecue in Tennessee. Like there's places that can do brisket, but it's not it's a pork place.
Yeah,
it's where you go to get pork. It's just what it is. Like you can get some good brisket, but you go to Texas to get brisket. But like there's good, like it's kind of that way with foot. It's like we do this, and I'm. Like now that we got the expanded playoff and everything, like I'm hoping for
like there's a chance.
They're every year it seems like they have some massive win in the last several years.
They'll beat Georgia or they'll beat Tennessee.
They'll lose
some. They'll get blown out by some people.
South Carolina has had their number the last little bit.
Yeah, my girlfriend's a Gamecock. She's a big South Carolina.
So Frank Rogers is as well.
Yeah,
and so
Oh, so you heard about that?
Yeah, it was like, this is not what I expected.
You're like, wait till basketball season, bud.
I'm hoping we're gonna be right.
Is this the first year post Calipari?
This will be the first year.
How you feeling?
I think it's gonna be great. I think there's some spark back in the program, and I think no matter what happens, people are going to be excited and moving forward. It's like something new, and it's like all right, something to build from. It just felt like, this is like Lower Broadway. We built this as big as it's going to go. We can't go anywhere else. Like it's not going to do anything. It's time to make a change. So I think it's going to be, I think it's going to be great.
Yeah, something I didn't know about Kentucky until recently. So, growing up in New York sports talk radio is a big thing.
Yeah.
I did not know until recently about Kentucky sports radio.
Yeah, that's a thing.
People calling in about the Cats and about the Cardinals and about the
Just
Bengals.
Live.
People go nuts.
Political.
People go crazy. Like it's like people talk about Paul Feinbaum in Alabama and like the Iron Bowl and people yelling about Alabama and this and that. Kentucky has that with when it's basketball season.
Well, man, there's not a lot of things to get into up there. So that is it's something to get into, and people get into it. And it's also cool because everyone is pretty divided on local sports, but they're big into local sports. But Kentucky basketball is what really brings the whole state together. Like it is true. Like it,
So where are all the Louisville fans at? Just in Louisville?
There's a couple of them hanging out. Bless their hearts.
There's a couple little dots of red in a sea of Kentucky.
Yeah, like it's like I said, it's on that side of the state.
Yeah.
But I feel like I went to college. I went to spend some time in Louisville out of high school, a little college, and I remember walking around U of L's campus and seeing quite a bit of people wearing blue,
which is crazy.
Yeah, it just goes to show you, like it is the, So if there was a pro sports team to ever come to town, it still wouldn't surpass Kentucky basketball in any sales or marketability, any of that. It's it's a big brand, man. It's like we're sitting here talking like, oh, you're from Kentucky, and inevitably we're talking about basketball.
The Wildcats,
like it's just part of the brand. And I, whiskey, basketball, bluegrass music. I'm cool with all that, all those things.
Those are 3 great things.
Yeah.
3 amazing things.
I can deal with all of them. Yes.
Yeah. So 14 years of being here. Was there like a moment where things like really, like, what was your first gig in town? Either music or non-music?
Funny enough, talking about Lower Broadway, I played with a bluegrass band at a club called Bootleggers.
Oh, yes. That's still down there.
And we played there every Monday. And I mean, I used to be able to park my car out on the street, and like I played upright bass in this band, and we did that. So I was doing those kind of things. And I, kind of joined a bluegrass band from Oklahoma that was kind of rebranding, and they kind of came to town. And from that, I ended up meeting some guys in a band in Boston, the Deadly Gentlemen, who were on Rounder Records at the time. So I kind of like formed into that band. And when that band was ending, coincidentally enough, the fiddle player from Town Mountain lived in the building next door. So he heard that my band was breaking up. But I think what he heard was, oh, Adam needs a gig, and we need a bass player.
Yeah.
So, like, I remember, like, being up there, like, on our last time together and passing him. And it's like, hey, you should come to Asheville and hang out with us. And I was just, so in shock at that time when that band was over. I was like, what the hell am I going to do now? I've been really invested in this. And that was just a really cool transition because I started playing with them and, like, felt like I was gigging a lot and learned a lot about touring even more. And that's just, learned the power of how a band can stay together. And that was a cool experience. And we're still, good friends with them. Thinking about all those guys in Asheville this weekend.
Yeah, dude. Now. Craziness.
Yeah, it's nuts.
It's crazy what Mother Nature can do.
Yeah, it just makes all this music shit insignificant.
Right?
Honestly. In the or anything.
Yeah, dude. It's like, and especially like to see like the roadways just completely destroyed. There's no way in or out.
Yeah, it's really unfathomable. It's hard to. It's just hard to believe that things are possible, but they are, and it's a strong community over there. Like there's really strong, willful people that are gonna band together and rebuild and recreate, and it's all gonna come back. I'm positive of that.
Yeah. So where are some of your favorite places to go and tour? Like either in your solo project or just favorite like towns or cities that you
I love Asheville. I love Austin, Texas.
Austin's cool. Austin's weird. And they always say keep Austin weird.
Yeah, Austin and Nashville are very parallel in growth at this moment. And some of the weirdness I think has been capped down there, which same here. I feel like East Nashville used to have a lot more kind of quirky to
Had
it.
like a flair to it.
Yeah, and that's not the same, but things progress and grow differently.
Yeah.
I like being home now.
Yeah, you spend so much time on the road.
Been to every state.
Yeah, you've been to every state.
Yeah.
Been to Alaska and Hawaii.
I have. Yeah.
No shit.
Mm-hmm.
You've literally been everywhere.
I have. Yeah. I've not. I mean, there's still some countries I got to check out.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I've got to watch. Towns grow and change or do something since I've been playing music, and that's added to the story. And added to like just seeing how different people operate. I think that's one advantage of being a tour musician or someone that travels a lot. Like your perspective on the world is just different. And I think you're more understanding towards different people.
Dude, 100%.
And you can learn to like at least somehow fathom a different train of thought than what your own is.
Yeah, dude, me coming from New York to being down here in the South.
That's very specific cultural.
Yeah, dude, very different. And then going to like Kearney, Nebraska or like Des Moines, Iowa, like the Midwest is its own thing, or finding yourself in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, or Boise, Idaho. Like
those are great towns. I can tell you where to get a drink in most of them.
Right?
Yeah.
That's what's so cool is I love that I know these random little spots. Like
those are my favorite. Honestly, those little like a diner that has like bee coffee. As much I like good coffee, but I like a place that just has a good vibe. And I get stared at a little bit when I walk in just because I'm just different. Like you're just like, you ain't from here, you know, that look and the get in the South. Like I've learned to just own that. It's just like being from Kentucky. You're just like, everybody does that. Like, what are you doing here? I love small remote places. That's a good thing to mention. I feel like now those are the things I like the most. Me and Britt just got back from. We actually spent our anniversary at Yellowstone.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and I've never
beautiful.
I've been around there, but never like Yeah,
you're not stopping the bus and going through the
exactly.
park.
Yeah. So to spend a few days driving around there, like that's the things I really like now.
Just land with nothing on it.
Yeah, and just like
just beauty.
Just pure open like New York, you know. It's like everybody's there doing all these things, and you look around like, what? Look how cool this is. Like nobody's looking over here at this right now.
Yeah.
I'm just more into that.
Yeah, no, absolutely, dude.
Yeah.
And I love going to the different, like the circuits that I've been on with touring have mostly been like a lot of like college towns.
Yeah.
Like going, and it was funny. I was watching, like, it makes me want to watch Big 12 football. I was like, I want to watch Kansas State play Oklahoma State. My two favorite Big 12 towns, Stillwater, Oklahoma, and Manhattan, Kansas.
Yeah, those are.
And I'm like, I know the bars in these towns. I know
and
the
they have their own
shops.
thing. Yeah, we were out in Bozeman, which is like I guess I never thought of Bozeman more as a college town, but it is. And we went to some college town bars, and it's it's like you see the little. Micro community that is in every community. And I'm from a small town, and like it's so funny when I just call anyone from home, like they're like, oh well, this happened. It's like goes to this big thing that's like this really small tiny
little microcosm of a situation.
Yeah, and those situations I tend to like dwell on more than whatever else is happening in the world.
Yeah, it's crazy, dude.
Yeah, there is a more focus on the minute things of small town life,
Yeah, there is. And that's, like you said, getting to travel and getting to understand people's perspectives, especially with the crazy world that we live in now.
I think everyone needs to do that.
Everyone needs to travel.
I think that should be just a part, like,
Europe does it. The Europeans travel, they all go all over their damn continent.
Yeah, what's funny, too, like, people in Alaska, speaking of Alaska, like, a lot of those people travel because it's like, you got to travel.
Yeah, what else are you going to do?
Yeah, so, like, most of them go to Hawaii, which you can't blame them.
Which is hilarious.
Alaska, a lot of those, Hawaii, it feels like more of those people know more when I've traveled up there, besides, like, some people who've never not left there. A lot of people get around a lot. And like, so there's a lot of remote places where that is a situation than others, which is interesting. Thing I've found getting around the country. Yeah,
because by traveling, it breaks stereotypes and breaks the generalizations. Like you see how other people live.
Yeah, and I think you bring it back to your world and you implement those ideas and thoughts, and eventually you just like, chip away at all the things that made you not think that was normal or whatever, things were holding you against it, I suppose.
Yeah, dude, absolutely. So what do we have? So we've got a new single dropping Friday.
New single, a little bit at a time.
A little bit at a time. And then a project coming with it?
Yeah, there'll be another release before the end of the year that might be holiday related.
Oh, sick.
So that'll happen, and then more from this project we did with Frank and Mike and Derek coming at the top of the year.
That's awesome, dude. Yeah, that's exciting stuff.
It is, man. It's been a long time kind of coming, but I think you get real eager for it, and the last little bit it's been fun to just kind of like just take it easy. And it's been fun this week knocking off the rust of putting music out and all the things that go into that as an independent artist. So it's been really fun to get back in it and share things with people and just see people like, man, when you haven't put things out in a while, you're like, I don't know, does anybody still give a shit? And getting like people commenting back. I'm on TikTok now. Please follow me on the TikTok.
What are you doing on there?
What are you
posting on there?
Just some stuff about the release and other things, playing video, things that people do on the TikTok. I'm in it.
You're not like dancing in front of cars and shit, are you?
You won't see any of that.
I was gonna say.
I don't think you're ever gonna see me. I can promise this. You will not see me lip syncing my song in my car. I will
Yeah.
not. I will not do that.
Yeah, it's like, why not just play it?
You might see me eat like a chili dog in my car.
Ooh.
I don't know.
That's what you should do.
That's some hot content.
That's the content right there.
Yeah, singing while chili dogging.
Yeah, or you in the diner drinking this B-level coffee? Shout out whatever town.
Yeah,
That's the content that people want.
everyone follow the Adam Chaffins because
The Adam Chaffins.
there's another guy named Adam Chaffins.
Oh, there is?
And he done took it. And if he's listening, maybe we can work out a deal.
Work out a deal. Yes, work out a deal over chili dogs and B-level coffee.
That's about all the deal it could be. The two Adam Chaffins. But
That's funny. When did the bug bite you to want to really go in on your own solo project versus being the studio musician, writer, having all the other shit going on?
I think
like, why get back into it
yeah.
right now?
Well, I mean, I felt like I was in the midst of it with my first record, and then COVID kind of hit. Like, I put a record out February of 21, and like, you know, the world shut down right before we were like thinking about touring and, you know, different cool promotional things. Like, all the marketing for it was just like, all right, well, I'm not going to market this. I'm going to maybe make sure I have some money to eat.
Yeah.
You know? So all that kind of went away. And so I felt like I had this like unfinished like taste, this weird taste in my mouth to not see like what really happened fully. And then I put some songs out after that did well. And then the thing with Ben and Meg, and it's like, I just feel like when you sit around and write a lot of songs, you're like, I don't know who's going to record this. And you find out pitching songs a lot. You're like, all right, well, people like the song, but I think my perspective of it is unique. And I think I just feel that I don't know how, I think I know how to like share the perspective of these songs in a way that makes sense to people.
Yeah, dude. And your voice is so fucking distinct.
Oh, thanks.
Like,
man.
that's what's cool about that song, too, was that it was you, Britt, Meg, and Ben all have such distinct voices.
Yeah.
I cannot wait for this project to come out and, like, your own... Because your voice, it's different. It stands the fuck out. Like, it really does. You know that's Adam Chaffins singing on this song.
Oh, well, thanks, man. Well, I think that about all them too. I can
Yeah,
hear
which is what's
yeah.
great about all four of you guys being on
Yeah.
that one track, but their own individual
I
products.
think Andrew Petrov, who mixed that and recorded it, was like, man, the EQ band on like all of your voices is so different. Like the structure of how, you know, we mixed
and
everyone.
it still sounds like a beautiful piece of work,
And
dude.
and it's
just
cool.
flows.
It's cool too because I feel like people usually sing together have like the same background, or like people like vocal groups all come from the same kind of pedigree or whatever, and we all just come from a different way of how we do things, and it's just cool. It just naturally happens. I don't really think we think too much on it, and it ends up just sounding musical. And it's not really about like, oh, these notes or these things. It's just about like just sounding right.
Yeah.
And it just feels right, and it always sounds right, and that's what it just seems. As long as it keeps staying effortlessly, I think we'll just keep doing it. I think.
Yeah, dude. Why the hell not?
Yeah,
Don't
yeah.
gotta fix it if it ain't broke. That's what they say in that small town.
I think that's what we're trying to do with that. Yeah.
Hell yeah, dude. Well, dude, I appreciate you coming on, man, and
Yeah, I appreciate you having me. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah, dude. And anytime, if you're ever interested in playing, we do a number of rounds and a number of events.
Let's do it.
I think we do the most events of anybody in town right now. We do about 10 of them a month, which is
a lot.
A lot, yeah.
A lot of eventing.
A lot of eventing.
Some might say you guys are eventful.
There it is. Raise Rowdy, eventful. There it is. There it is. Well, y'all be sure to give our boy Adam Chaffins a follow, the Adam Chaffins, and look him up on TikTok. Be on the lookout for the chili dog content.
That's right.
I cannot wait. I'm so excited for that.
Now I have to do this.
Coming to a Sonic drive-thru near you. It's going to be awesome. But seriously, I'll be sure to be on the lookout for a little bit at a time. It will be out, I believe. I'm not exactly sure when this is coming out. It might be coming out on release day. It might be coming out next Tuesday. But either way, it'll be out a little bit at a time. Y'all go check it out, and I'll be on the lookout for the full body of work coming at the top of the year. Dude, I appreciate you coming on.
Thank you, man.
And hanging out. We'll hook you up with some hats. We got some Surfside.
Oh, I'm excited about
vodka
all the
iced
swag.
tea. You said you like iced tea.
I love iced tea.
This is iced tea, but a little bit of a little spice in it.
That's going to go straight in my garage fridge where all the garage fridge beverages go.
That's how I know you're a real Kentucky man. Garage beers.
Yeah.
Garage beers.
Your location's great too, because I brought my farm truck so I could get some hay bales for the animals.
Perfect. Yeah, dude. Tractor
home.
Supply. Shout out Tractor Supply.
Yeah.
Please sponsor us, Tractor Supply. We are right behind. It gets mentioned every podcast about like Decius and Ray Tier went in and bought some more chickens or whatever.
That checks out 100%.
Yes.
Is what that does.
Yeah, that is what they do. But y'all be sure to check out a little bit at a time. Our boy Adam Chaffins. Thank you guys as always for watching, listening. Be sure to visit raisedrowdy.com for more on us. For my man Adam, I'm Matt Burrill. This has been Outside the Round.